thank you for joining me. I do appreciate your time. I don't take it for granted. You're all busy professionals, but I am increasingly excited about eXp and what it's doing for good agents like you, particularly how you get compensated. So for those of you who don't know my background, super brief, I am a real estate trainer by profession. I have been for the last 20 years. I have run several training businesses. I had the country's biggest one-on-one coaching company in the real estate space. So I've trained tens of thousands of South Africa's estate agents through the years, literally tens of thousands. And I've coached hundreds and hundreds of them one-on-one through my coaching organizations. So I've seen a lot of different real estate companies and different real estate models. But the first thing that I want to encourage you to do, we were speaking about this a little earlier before the call began, was that you must go and do some homework. The more videos you can watch, the more websites you visit, the more you Google this thing, the better. Because if this business is what we say it is, and I mean, factually, we know what it is. It's the largest independent real estate company in the world. It's the fastest growing real estate company in history by like multiples. And it is now the fastest growing real estate company in South Africa's history by a long shot. If it is all of that, some simple research is going to bear out the truth of it. So go and do some research. We've put up a page with a whole bunch of videos on it. Some I've done, some international, some from conferences, some websites, and we've put it all on one page. There's hours and hours and hours of stuff there. Just get lost in it. The more you can do, the better. We all have the same problem in real estate. There's no exit plan. I don't care if you did 5 million Rand in commissions last year, well, or this year. On the 1st of January 2024, you start from zero. You're out getting more listings, doing more viewings, contract negotiations, getting things under contract, getting things closed, waiting for the next registration. The moment you stop working, you stop earning. Now, I had the same problem. I had a real estate training business, great business. You make a lot of money in a short amount of time with webinars and stuff. But the moment I stopped working, I stopped earning. I was always chasing the next speaking engagement, the next conference, the next webinar, the next partner to bring a crowd. I was having to think of new training courses all the time to try to keep the thing fresh. It was exhausting. I was exhausted. So I'm sitting there eating my chicken mayonnaise sandwich, actually exhausted by this thing of business. And I see a model which the genius of it is that it gives agents an opportunity to build genuine financial freedom. It gives you an exit plan. Okay, there's two ways that works. The first is through eXp, we have the opportunity of building up what can become a sizable shareholding in the company. So eXp, as I will explain later, is listed on one of the major stock exchanges of America, and the agents of the company own the company. We get given shares in the business, and you can build up more and more shares by doing what essentially you're already doing in your current company. Secondly, and this really is where the magic is, eXp have a system called revenue sharing. Because the agents are the owners of the business, the agents share in the revenues of the company. And you're going to see now how they can do that, why they're so profitable. Okay, the other thing that you may notice, this is another thing which a lot of people like about eXp, is that it offers you complete independence, right? Every eXp agent is an independent contractor. No one's ever going to be looking over your shoulder asking you, how many listings have you got? How many phone calls did you make this week? What? There's no nitpicking oversight as there is in some real estate businesses. You are completely independent as an eXp agent, and yet you are part of the most collaborative real estate culture in the world. So it essentially allows you to own your own business without any of the hassle and expense of doing so. All right, who founded eXp? This guy, Glenn Sanford. He was a Keller Williams leader. He had a very successful real estate team with Keller Williams in the late 2000s. He had a $60 million team, but he was a kind of techie genius. He's a bit of a Steve Jobs character. Even in the 2000s, he said, we don't need offices. I'm just going to run a business in the cloud. Now, that was in the day and age where there's no webinars, there's no Google meetings, there was nothing like that. okay, I'm going to experiment with this idea that I've got. If I were to join a real estate company, he said to himself, what would I want the company to offer me? That's what I'm going to build, an agent-centric business. So he started this company called eXp Realty. And shortly after that, he managed to get the rights to a company called Verbella. Verbella developed a metaverse. Okay, we've actually had a metaverse for the better part of over 10 years at eXp. All of our offices are based in this metaverse. I'll show you a little screenshot of it later. Now, that multiplied by 24 countries, which is what eXp operates in, 90,000 agents, and you start to realize why this company is so profitable. 90,000 agents in 24 countries, and we don't own one office. If you were to add up all of the money that is spent on bricks and mortar for a Keller Williams or a Remax, or in South Africa, any of the brands, you pick a brand, all of the money that's spent on office space, like head office space, regional offices, national offices, franchise offices, on the corner of every street, and all of the staffing and all of the insurance and all of the desks and all of the aircon and the coffee machines and the photocopiers and you add up all of that for a global company, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year. eXp has got none of that expense. That's where all the money comes from. And instead of keeping all the money, Glenn then said, okay, well, let's start a business where the agents make that money. Let's pay it all back to the agents. Okay, so what they do when they go to a new country is they start a company, they register a company in the country. They own the company 100%. eXp is not a franchise model. Everything's owned by eXp World Holdings in America. And then they employ a local staff. We've been incredibly successful here. And there are reasons for that. We've got good leadership. There's a great team. So Andrew Thompson is the principal of eXp South Africa, and he's built an amazing team. There's about 15 staff members now. So I want to just contrast for you now before I get into the model itself. So I'm actually going to get into the model just now. There's 4 pillars to it. But before I do that, I just want to contrast the two models of real estate, because you have to understand that eXp is a market disruptor. And they are disrupting through technology. Now, that is what we've seen happen in industries like the hotel industry. You know, you've got Hilton Hotels with $4 billion US. And then you've got this company called Airbnb that comes on the scene. It's not just another hotel group with a different color branding. It's a complete disruption to the market. Airbnb are worth 4 times what Hilton Hotels is worth. That's their market cap. And you know what? They don't own one property. It's an app. That's disruption. You look at, maybe you were like me, you raised kids in the time of DVD stores or video stores. So I remember going down, my kids are now 21, 19, and 17. So, you know, I remember 15 years ago traipsing down to Mr. Video on a Friday night. And like the first challenge was not to lose your children in Mr. Video. You have to like make sure everyone is holding everybody else's hand. And then you head in. There's people everywhere. There's people wrestling over. Do you remember like there was the DVD box and then the slot underneath. And if there was only one left, you know, like people were diving across the aisles to get the last one in the slot. You know, do you know of a video store that exists anymore? Like, is there a video store? Maybe there's some like a retro dude from the 70s who smokes dope and like, you know, he's just like, he still rents out videos. But Netflix completely destroyed the home entertainment industry as it was. Live streaming. They don't own one store. They don't own one little DVD disc, and yet they're the biggest in the world. This is what technology does. You can look at other industries that's happened. Uber in the taxi industry. It's just an app. This is what eXp have done. They have completely destroyed the traditional model. Traditional model, left-hand side of the screen. Whether it's a local company or an international business, doesn't matter. It's the same model. You take a Sotheby's or a Keller Williams, here's the way it works. there is an owner to the business. Some of these businesses are listed, like Anywhere is listed. Some of them are privately owned, like Remax. Who owns Remax? Do the agents own Remax? No, Dave Liniger owns Remax, and he's not giving anything away. And you know what? Power to Dave Liniger. Well done. He built a good business. Keller Williams. Who owns Keller Williams? Gary Keller owns Keller Williams. Well done, Gary. Good. You've built an amazing business, but he owns it all. And so you've got leadership at the top. They are the guys that make all the money. That's where the real money and the real freedom lies, the exit plan. So the way they then work is, if it's an international business, they have some kind of office. So Remax has a head office somewhere in the world. Keller Williams has a head office, and that's where Dave Liniger or Gary Keller goes in on a Monday morning, and everyone greets them. They get their coffee put on their table. They're in a brick and mortar building. What they then do is they then start expanding regionally within their country, like in the States, in all the different states, and then internationally. So, there will be a Keller Williams, someone who gets the right to Keller Williams in South Africa, or someone gets the rights to Remax in South Africa, and they pay a lot of money for that. All of the stuff is getting paid for. And then those regional leadership have a brick and mortar office. They have expenditure that goes along with that layer. And then what these guys do is they sell franchises. So if you want to buy a Keller Williams Market Center or buy a Remax franchise, or if a local version of this pyramid is Pam Golding or Seaf or whatever, you buy a Pam Golding franchise, and then you pay $1 million, and now you can set up. And now there's all the expenditure of it. You've got to get a brick and mortar office on the corner of the street in Kenilworth here. You need an office administrator. You need a receptionist. You need desks and chairs, and you need to spend hundreds of thousands on interior decorating so it looks good when the clients come in. Guys, do you understand how expensive this model is? There is brick and mortar in every single layer of this, and there are chunks of cash just coming out of the system for every single layer. Now, here's the question. Where does all the money come from? Who makes all the money? Who generates the cash? It's the agents that make all the money. It's the agents representing buyers and sellers of property, generating commissions, and then the broker owner or the franchise owner takes a split on those agents' commissions. And that split has to feed the beast. Okay, so Glenn Sanford comes along and he says, this is ridiculous. We don't need offices. The whole of real estate works in the cloud. Let's just ditch all the offices. And in fact, let's make the agents the owners of the company. Let's get this thing listed as fast as we can and give the agents the shares. They own the company. It's all based in the cloud, so we're super profitable. And then we will build, as a platform, the most technologically advanced real estate platform on the planet for the agents to own and run their own businesses on. That's the vision. So, question, has it worked? And is it working? So you may have heard of the Inman conference in America. So this is not an eXp conference, it's an industry conference. An industry commentator named Mike Del Preet. You can go and check out Mike Del Preet's YouTube channel. This presentation is on his YouTube channel. He's not an eXp guy, he's just a commentator. He gave his talk on disruption in the real estate industry. And he just started talking all about eXp because eXp is the disruptor. And he's now showing you what the profitability of these companies is behind the scenes. So you take Compass, for example. Compass is, in the last 5 years, has been the only company to get even close to eXp's growth rate. So eXp are still by far the fastest growing real estate company in history, but Compass are the next down. How did Compass grow? Very different business model. I think they were owned by some huge corporate financiers with very deep pockets, and they basically just went and purchased a whole lot of companies. So they bought medium and small to medium-sized real estate companies all over America, and they've built this company just through acquisition. But because of that, you look at the amount of money that they're burning. In the first quarter of 2023, This is in 3 months. They made a 68, probably $65 million loss in 3 months. Folks, you can't burn that amount of cash for very long. Then you've got Anywhere. Anywhere are the largest real estate conglomerate in the world. As I said to you, they own a whole bunch of brands, Sotheby's, ERA, Century 21, etc. Anywhere are drowning financially. In the first quarter of this year, they made a $50 million loss because the expenses are just so high. This old model is sinking. And so it goes on. The only profitable company that we've got access to the finances on is eXp. Look, United were a little bit profitable, insignificant, but eXp made a, whatever that was, $15 million profit in the first quarter of this year. The earnings for quarter 3 have just been announced. If you go to eXp's website, you'll see them. They were announced yesterday. And again, we've made, I think it was an $18 million profit in the quarter. And the US are in a recession. Everyone's losing money in the States. eXp are still profitable. Why? Because our expenses are so low. So is it working? I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Okay, so what is the model? eXp have got essentially 4 pillars that make up the disruption of their model. And I'm going to tell you what they are in advance, and then we'll go through them one by one. That's the rest of today. So number 1 is a phenomenal technology platform. I've already spoken a little bit about that. And it enables you to essentially run your own business on someone else's platform. Secondly, eXp provide the best training of any real estate company on the planet. I know that's a bold claim. I will justify that claim when we get to that. There is no company that even comes close to comparing with eXp's training for agents. Thirdly, it is an agent-owned business. So eXp is listed on one of the major stock exchanges in the States. It's the tech stock exchange where Facebook and Google and Apple are all listed. It's called the NASDAQ. So eXp is listed on the NASDAQ, and we get given shares in the company. I'll talk about how that works later. And then fourthly is the revenue sharing system that if you help to grow the business, you will get a bigger and bigger slice of the revenues of the company paid to you as a passive income. As a passive income. That's why I joined eXp, that number 4, because I saw the passive income opportunity here. How much does it cost to join eXp? There's a 900 Rand joining fee that gets you onboarded. It gets you access to your email address and access to all of the systems. And then it costs 900 Rand per month to be a member of eXp. Unlimited listings on both portals, unlimited clicks, unlimited leads, Lightstone membership, virtual agent membership, CRM. You can choose your CRM. I suggest you go for the PropCon option. It's the best CRM in South Africa. PropCon membership is built into everything. You get it all. Plus the listing system, plus access to all of eXp's global opportunity. You get everything for 900 Rand a month. That should get your attention. Okay, what split are you on? You pay 25% to eXp South Africa, but you also pay, look at the bottom panel on that slide, you pay 4% to international. So let's just call it what it is. You're on a 71-29 split with eXp. But that 25% that you pay in on your transactions is limited to 150,000 Rand a year. Once you've paid in 150,000 Rand on your 25% split, eXp say to you, thank you, you've done well for the year. Let's say that takes you 6 months. We now no longer want anything from you. You keep it all except for the 4%. You keep paying the 4% after you've capped. Okay, now, if you've kind of been working the maths in your head, what does that mean for gross commission? In order to cap, you have to do 600,000 Rand gross commission. Because when you've done 600,000 gross commission, you would have paid in 25% of that, which is 150,000 Rand. Once you've done 600 gross commission, you cap. From that point onwards, you keep 96% of your commission. So we've got a guy who works in Gauteng. He capped in 6 weeks this year. So that means for the better part of 10 and a half months, he's keeping 96% of his commissions. It has completely changed his life. So the split is good with eXp. The main things you need to know is all your listings get syndicated to both portals, and you've got all the tools that you currently use, like Lightstone and Virtual Agent and CMA and all those things that you use at the moment. You get them with eXp. eXp give you options on your CRM system. You can use PropData's CRM system. You can use eXp's CRM system that's linked to our listing systems called Rep. And then you can use PropCon. PropCon is a South African developed CRM system. It is the best CRM system for South African estate agents, hands down. You get that as one of your options. We have this, so eXp has a massive workplace profile. What is workplace? It's Facebook. It's a Facebook app, but it's Facebook for companies. So it's like a closed environment for Facebook. And I understand eXp has got the largest workplace profile in the world. We've got 89,000 people on it. And what you can do with Workplace and Work Chat, which is the like Facebook Messenger option, it's the direct communication option for Workplace, is you can start groups, you can join groups, you can network with eXp agents all over the world. This is the way eXp works. We network globally all the time with other eXp agents, and this is the tool that you use to do it. If you choose to brand yourself as an eXp agent, all of the branding is in place. We've got a full marketing center where you can log in and you can download endless templates for anything that you would want to produce. The other thing I want to talk about is the flexibility of the branding. You can either choose to just brand yourself as an eXp agent, and eXp is becoming more and more well-known, obviously, because we're growing so fast. So I think that's a great option if you don't want to choose another option. Just be an eXp agent, and then all the templates and the artworks are in place for you. But as I mentioned earlier, you can also brand yourself, either create a brand for yourself, like Lisna Nell did. So this is Lisna Nell's brand on the left. Lisna is the top-selling, from 2022, she was eXp's top-selling agent. She has built a team in Durbanville, and she's building her own brand called Realtor SA. So if you drive through the northern suburbs of Cape Town now, you will see the Realtor SA branding all over the northern suburbs of Cape Town. And they are just powered by eXp. She created that brand because she wanted to build a team. We've also got companies like NRG in Port Elizabeth. So James Conyers came across with his whole team in PE, and he maintained his brand. He was National Realtor Group, NRG. So he's just now NRG powered by eXp. He kept his existing brand. Okay, we've got this marketing center where you can go in there and you can download, it just creates anything you want. Social media content, little presentation folder things, videos of your listings. You can just create them at a click of a button, download it, and then put them on your social media. Flyers, postcards, brochures, business cards, single page website, landing pages for your listings. Everything can get created in eXp's marketing center. One of the benefits of eXp is that you keep any of your secondary incomes, you keep them 100% for yourself. eXp do not want to participate in your bond commission, for example. The beauty of this is, for most of the agents in South Africa, they will get bond.com and they have to split it with their principal. Or they don't even get it. Like, they get a mug and bean voucher, and the principal goes to Greece. With eXp, you keep it all. You keep the full 0.5% for yourself. So additional income streams is another major part of owning your own business with eXp. Okay, that's the platform. Let's get on to the next thing, training. There's a lot to say here, but I'm going to try to say it fast. eXp has got the best training in the world. Why? Because there's so much training. Every single day, there's like 20 or 30 training sessions happening somewhere in the world, and you can attend them all. Why? Because we have an avatar world. There's a calendar that you can check months in advance and see what training is happening every single day, and literally 20, 30 sessions a day. And it's put on by one of eXp's standalone divisions called eXp University. And it's all done in auditoriums in our avatar world. So this is a snapshot of one of our auditoriums. Every person you see there is a living, breathing human being somewhere in the world. They've seen that this is training that looks good to them. They've come into the auditorium. There's a trainer. They do the training. You can talk to the person next to you. You can walk up to the front at the end. You can talk to the trainer. It's incredibly interactive. It's quite a mind-blowing experience, to tell you the truth, the first time you do this. And you can literally go from training on negotiations, like a negotiation skill training in Australia, and you can walk out of that auditorium, and the next hour there's how do you market your listings on Instagram being done in one of the American auditoriums. You can walk into that auditorium and just go to the American campus and go. You can go from Australia to America in 2 minutes using the shortcut button, go to, and you can be doing training. You can attend all 20 training sessions a day if you wanted to. Okay, there's more training than you'll ever do at eXp. That's number one, why it's better than any company in the world, because we don't have to find venues and a budget for training. It's just built into the system. Okay, then another big question, who does the training? This is the other thing that small and actually larger real estate companies have a problem with. Constantly finding good trainers to bring good, new, cutting edge content to their agents is a big deal, and it is expensive. I know, I was a trainer. I know what I charged companies to go and train. It's an impediment. Who does the training in eXp? Probably a third to half of the training at eXp is done by the Icon agents. Who are the Icon agents? The Icon Award is the top award in eXp in the world. So it's kind of like, you know, the triple emerald club or the double diamond super duper club that, you know, every company's got their like top award. eXp is called the Icon agent. In South Africa, you've got to do 3 million Rand gross commission to be an Icon agent. If you become an Icon agent with eXp, listen to this, eXp give you your cap amount back in the form of shares. So what does that mean? It means you're on a 96% split the whole year. And you've got access to everything eXp offers, and you're on a 96% split. But that's why the top agents in the world are flocking across to eXp. And as you do your homework, you're going to see that that's the case. Okay, there's a hoop that you've got to jump through. You've got to do a certain number of hours training. I think in the States it's 6 sessions. We're still waiting for the requirements for South Africa. It'll be something like this. You got to do 6 sessions training in eXp world. Now you think about that. It is the most brilliant system, because what eXp have done is they have created a way for the top agents in the world to be incentivized to train the other agents how to do what they are currently doing. And you can go to Icon training every day of the week. There will be Icon training somewhere in eXp in the world that you can go into an avatar and go and do it. And these are with currently crushing it agents somewhere in the world. In addition to the training that eXp Global provide, eXp South Africa, as I've just said, provide training that is for South African related issues. There's training every week that South Africa put on, the South African staff. Then I have made all of the training that I've done for 20 years. There's a couple of products that are like the cream of what I've done. I've put them together. There's a handful of them. I don't sell my training to anybody in South Africa anymore. No one has got access to my training except the agents in my eXp group. So I've created a bouquet of products that you get for free when you join my eXp group. So all of my training is available. And then lastly, I will often partner with some of the top trainers in the world. Like that guy on the left, Bill Pipes. He's respected as, some say, the top real estate coach in the world. He came out of the Mike Ferry stable. And I partnered with him recently. He did a 7-session series called The $1 Million Agent. And my whole team got that. I actually bought it. It cost me $500. I bought it for my whole team. And everyone in my team had access to this. And we've got the recordings of that. So you can go and do that now. I've got it on a page. Same thing with Fred Wilson, the most unique individual I've ever met, but he has locked onto the key skill of success in real estate. The most powerful training I've ever done in my life with that guy. We've got the replays of it. The Build Conference, every year, this is one of the big things I do for my eXp team. I get the top eXp leaders from around the world. So the top eXp leader is a guy called Brent Gove. He's got 30,000 agents in his revenue share team. 30,000 agents. Now, when you see the numbers later, you're going to realize that is absolutely mind-bogglingly enormous. And the amount of money this guy makes on his revenue share team. He's also an incredible guy, loves the Lord as I do. So I bring him and other top trainers from around the world, other top leaders. I bring them out and we do a conference once a year. You don't want to miss this. It is a phenomenal experience. Right, the third thing is the stock awards. How do you get given shares in the business? I keep saying you get given shares in the business. Well, that's what happens. You get given shares in the business. How does that work? eXp listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange in 2017. There's old Glenn Sanford shutting down the world technology markets at the end of the day. It's like an honor they give to the chairman of the company when they list on the stock exchange. Okay, how do we get given shares? There's two panels here which represent two different ways you have access to shares. Let's start with this one, Agency Equity Awards. These are shares you get given. Okay, like I said to you with the Icon Award, you get given 150,000 rands worth of shares. There are other ways you get given shares, and that's what these three things on the left are here. The first sale that you make every year, this is every calendar year, let's say in January, February, whatever, they give you 2,000 rands worth of shares. They translate it into US dollars, they round it up, and they give you that amount of shares. Where do the shares go? Every eXp agent gets a Morgan Stanley trading account that gets opened for them. It's part of your membership of eXp, and the shares get put into your Morgan Stanley account. We have a login called ShareWorks. It's Morgan Stanley's app where you can check out your stock awards and the value of your shares at any point in time. It's completely transparent. Okay, the second way you can get given shares is by capping. So I think everybody on this call will be a capping agent. So you'll get 4,000 rands worth of shares when you cap. And they're just saying, hey, congratulations for capping. Here's 4,000 rands worth of shares. Boom. You'll find them in your Morgan Stanley account. Well done. Then the last one is if you sponsor, and I'm going to define that word, if you sponsor another agent into eXp, when they do their first deal, their very first deal, this is not an annual award, this is once off, you get given 4,000 rands worth of shares. Okay, what does it mean to sponsor an agent? Nobody can join eXp worldwide without listing an existing eXp agent as their sponsor when they sign the contract. You have to be brought into eXp by an existing eXp agent. That's the way it works. And what eXp have got is this massive global system that tracks the generations of agents so that they can administer the stock awards program and so that they can pay the revenue share, which I'll get onto next. Sponsor does not mean pay for. So when you sponsor an agent, you don't pay for them. It just means you're introducing them to eXp. The last point on these shares that you get given, you don't take legal ownership of them immediately. They take 3 years to vest. Yeah, vesting just means you only take official ownership of them after 3 years. If you leave eXp within that 3-year period, you forfeit the shares. Okay, now why are eXp doing that? It's a retention scheme, obviously. And you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. They are giving me the shares. You know, so if I've got to stay with the business for 3 years to collect my $250,000 rands worth of shares, which is growing every day, fair enough. This one here that I'm now going to explain, you take ownership of these shares immediately. They are yours. They get put into your Morgan Stanley account, but you own them immediately. Okay, and this is called the Agent Equity Program. It is so powerful. What they do is they give access to discounted shares to all their agents. And they limit this to 5% of your commissions. So this is discretionary. You don't have to participate in this. I would recommend that you do. When you fill in the contract, you tick a little block that says, yes, I want to participate. If you tick that block, when you do a deal, they keep 5% back. They're not taking the money from you. It's your money. They're just redirecting it. And they purchase eXp shares for you at a 10% trading discount on the day. Now, let's just talk exit plan for a second. Let's say you want to retire in 10 years' time. Now, 10 years is not a long time for a business to set you free financially. So let's say 10 years. What would your gross commission be working as an agent over the next 10 years? Now, take 5% of that and invest it at a 10% discount in a US dollar-based asset in a share of the fastest growing real estate company in history, whose share price has gone up 10 times in 6 years. Guys, that could be worth millions and millions of rands sitting in US dollars in 10 years' time. So my advice to agents when they join eXp is do participate in the agent equity program and never even look at the shares. Pretend they don't exist. You know what we like? When money gets put in our account, we spend it. If it doesn't land in our account, go somewhere else, we just forget it exists. Let the shares build up over time. Then the last one, we're almost there, guys, the revenue sharing system. How does the revenue sharing system work? I just want you to get the principle of the revenue sharing before I explain the mechanics of it. It is very important that you understand the principle behind this. This is a revenue sharing system. What eXp say is, we are so profitable as a company. We make tens of millions of dollars every quarter when every other company is losing money. And we will pay 50% of our revenues, not even the profits, 50% of the revenues we pay out to our agents. Now, if you want to share, get a bigger slice of that pie, what do you have to do? Well, you have to help grow the company. If Shireen brings agents into eXp, she sponsors those agents, we will give her a percentage of those agents, the split that we're taking on those agents' transactions. So Shireen's not going to get paid out of the agent's commission. Shireen's going to get paid out of eXp's portion of the agent's commission. They pay back the revenues to the agents of the company. You know, how could anybody have a problem with that? That is a brilliant, magnanimous, like strategically brilliant move. And you know what it's done? It has unlocked head and shoulders the fastest growing real estate company in history. How does it work? If you sponsor an agent, they put your name on the contract when they join eXp, you get paid 3.5% of those agents' commissions up until the point they cap. Okay, why? Because you are getting that 3.5% out of eXp's 25%. Once the agent caps, they no longer pay eXp. So eXp are not making any revenue on that agent for the rest of that 12 months. And so there's no revenue to share. It's a revenue sharing system. Yeah? So we get 3.5% up until the agent caps, which if you do your maths, works out as a maximum of 21,000 Rand per agent per year that you sponsor onto what we call your first tier. So first tier agents are agents that you have personally sponsored into eXp, up to 21,000. If you sponsor 10 capping agents, you'd make 210,000 Rand per year, because you'd make 21,000 on each of them, and there's no limit. You can sponsor 100 agents if you want to. Now, question. Shireen sponsors, let's say, Joseph, and Shireen's now getting paid 3.5% on Joseph's transactions. Note this, Shireen is not Joseph's principal. Shireen does not have to provide systems or training or transactional support to Joseph. Shireen does not have to provide an office to Joseph. Shireen does not have to do anything for Joseph. Shireen is getting paid a passive income on Joseph transactions. eXp South Africa are providing all the training, all the transactional support, all of the systems. Listen. Guys, I've been in business a long time. I've had 7, I think I was counting, no, I was counting because I spoke about this to a group the other day. I think I've had 11 businesses in my life. I'm almost 49 years old. I've had 11 businesses. I've seen a lot of what it takes to build a business. Some of them have been successful. Many of them have been complete failures. Most of them, in fact, all of them left me without an exit plan. In 3 years at eXp, I've built a business where I've got 740 agents in my team, 740 agents. It's like, I say it boggles my mind when I say, how's that even possible? With 740 agents, I will go a whole day and my phone won't ring. Honestly, I like, I'm looking for someone to go out for lunch with, and I go into the forest with my spade and I'm trail building. I'm building ramps for my bike and mountain biking. Honestly, it is passive income because eXp are doing all the heavy lifting. You've never seen anything like this in your life before. What if Joseph, Sharina sponsored Joseph, what if Joseph says, you know what? This guy, Steve Johnson, he's actually worth listening to. I'm going to show Steve's video to my friend Mary, because I think she's also going to like this. Joseph shows Mary the video, which you can find at themodelexplained.co.za. Joseph sponsors Mary. Joseph is going to get 3.5% of Mary's transactions. But here's the kicker. Shireen is now going to get paid 4%. Why do eXp do that? We get paid more on our tier 2 agents than we do on our tier 1 agents. Well, it's an incentive. It incentivizes me to help Ashley. Ashley is on my first tier. It incentivizes me to help Ashley to sponsor agents because as I help her build her business, I'm building my own business. So we get paid on our second tier, up to 24,000 Rand per agent on your second tier. And this works in multiples. It's exponential growth. After just 3 years, guys, I've got 93 people on my first tier. I've got 265 people on my second tier. That's exponential growth. All I did was introduce 93. They've introduced 265. And I get paid more on the 265. What happens if Mary on our tier 2, what happens if Mary sponsors someone? That person's on your tier 3. Well, you get paid up to 15,000 Rand on tier 3, up to 9,000 Rand on tier 4, 6,000 on tier 5, 15,000 on tier 6, and 30,000 on tier 7. Tier 7 is actually the most profitable tier. You make 5% on your agents on tier 7. So just think of this as generations of agents as the company is growing, and you are earning a percentage of the split that you make on all of their transactions. It's not joining fees. This is not Bernie Madoff. This is agents working as estate agents, and we are benefiting on the split on their transactions. The revenue that the company makes is getting shared with us. This is probably the most powerful aspect of this, is that the agents that join your tiered system, the generations as they grow, they don't have to be, and in fact, it is impossible that they will be only in South Africa. It is simply not possible if you grow a revenue share team for you to keep it in one country, because people know people know people and it goes somewhere else. I already, after less than 3 years, have 2 agents in the UK, 1 agent in the US, 1 agent in France, and 1 agent in Dubai. And I only sponsored one of those guys, the guy in France. The rest have come in tier 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Other people have known those people. Now, when my agent in France, as an example, Frank Brisson, when he does a transaction in France, I get paid, when I compare it to what I would have got paid by a South African agent doing a transaction, I get paid 6 times the amount. Why? Just because of the exchange rate. Now, I don't think I can express to you in strong enough terms the opportunity that I see in this. If you get your head around this, I have a global real estate company now. I get paid when agents in Europe do transactions, when agents in America, in Dubai, do transactions. I get paid an enormous amount of money on those transactions because we have a weak exchange rate. And I didn't have to register a company in France or Dubai or America or the UK. And it looks like we're about to go into New Zealand. One of my agents is moving to New Zealand. I don't have to register a company there, open an office there, get a license, get a work permit, somehow get permission to open, find an office, get an office administrator who speaks the local language, recruit agents. I didn't have to do any of that. It costs me 900 Rand a month. And I've got a global real estate company that provides the top systems in the world to agents all over the world. You know, in the past, guys, people joined real estate companies because they got free business cards. Like, honestly, this business has changed the game. Okay, I'm going to finish with this exit plan. Let's just look at some numbers. It will never work this way. It doesn't work this linear. Okay, I'm just using this as a mathematical expression of what the revenue sharing system can do. Let's say you're going to say, using the revenue sharing system, you want to be free in 5 years. Could you sponsor? I did 60 in my first year. Could you do 2 a year for the next 5 years? Just 2 people a year. If you did that, you'd have 10 people. If they did each the same, so you end up with 100 people in your second tier. If they were all capping agents, for just 10 people that you've introduced, your annual income would be 2.6 million rand. You know, I'm eating my chicken mayonnaise sandwich. You know, jaundiced, skeptical, a little bit difficult, dripping crumbs on the Oaks laptop. And I could not ignore the common sense of all this. And fortunately, I can tell you now, I took a huge risk when I joined eXp because I knew I was kicking my training business into touch. No one was going to use me if they knew I was recruiting agents. I took a huge risk. And here I am, 3 years later, 700 people in my team. I mean, it's like unbelievable. I think we're going to go to 4,000 agents in South Africa. I think we'll get 10% of the market in this country. Because that's what's happened in the States, and we are growing even faster than they grew in America, in South Africa. This market has been ripe for it. So we are currently at 1,200 agents in South Africa. I think we're going to skyrocket to 4,000 in the next 3 years. Most of the growth is still to come. And not only that, if you were to do this, you would end up having agents starting to grow all over the world. You can't stop it. Next steps. Number 1, schedule a follow-up appointment. Before then, do some homework. Go and watch a whole bunch of videos. Do your own research. Number 2, this is the Join app on eXp South Africa's website. Don't worry. When you click that button and you go to this page and you scroll down and then you see a button, Become an Agent Today, and you click it, and then it says, I'm ready, and you click the terms and conditions, you click I'm ready. Okay, don't worry. You're not becoming an agent and you don't have to be ready. All it does is it gives you a form. Fill that form in. This is not the contract. It's just an application form. It basically just triggers 2 emails. The first email just says, welcome, we're busy checking you out. Later in the day, you'll get an email. It'll have the contract in it. Read through the contract. That's the second thing that I advise you to do. It's 42 pages. I can tell you there's nothing you need to worry about in there. What you do need to worry about, if you're with another agency right now, is the contract that you signed with your current agency. That's what you need to worry about. Go and dig your contract out and see if you signed a restraint of trade. Because if you've got a restraint of trade, we need to be careful. Okay? I'm not going to bring you over in a rush if it's going to harm you. We've got attorneys we work with restraints of trade. I think they're very unfair. eXp, we don't do anything like that. In fact, if you don't like eXp, you can leave with all your listings. It's an incredibly open-handed business, but you do want to read through the contract. So go and fill in the form on eXp's website, get access to the contract. Number 3, do a Save Me Beta test. You want someone that you know, that you respect, that you trust to look at this with you and save you if you're going to make a mistake. So here's what you do. You phone up your best mate and you say, listen, best mate, I've seen something which has, quite frankly, blown my mind. I am excited about it, but I need you to take a look at this thing and save me if I'm about to make the biggest mistake of my career. Would you please look at it and give me your opinion? That's what you do. If you can make 5 of those phone calls, make 5 of those phone calls. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to go, don't try to explain it to them. It's going to sound like a pyramid scheme, okay? Just show them the video. You go to the modelexplained.co.za, you say, sit down, watch this with me. Here's what will happen. If you show it to 5 people, at least one of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, are going to join with you. That's what happens.